Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping video. This is for July 21st through the 27th, and I'm using a Plannerface kit called Festival Vibes. I think this is an older format of Plannerface kit because I didn't have enough glitter headers to mark each of the 3 sections for every single day. It was fine. I adapted. We survived. We got through it. It turned out pretty anyway. But just a note on that before we get into it, I do believe she's reformatted the kits because I have another kit from her that I'm going to be using in the fall, and I think it has all the glitter headers. So yeah, love this art. I didn't go to a music festival this week. I went to an indoor concert for one band, but I thought that the colors of this really matched the band that I saw this week, Death Cab for Cutie, because it's more indie rock, I guess. I don't know. I feel like alternative rock, indie rock has so many groupings within it, but I feel like we haven't come up with better terms for those subgroups. So whatever, labels are just labels anyway. But yeah, I really loved the guitar in this kit. I love orange. I really like the color orange. I know a lot of people really don't, which I find interesting, but I like it. So I always love when kits include that. And I loved the fashion people in this kit and this cute coffee cart, I think is what it was supposed to be. And the outfit in the box that I'm putting on Tuesday is basically kind of a short version of what I ended up wearing to the concert. I had kind of a crop top that didn't look like that, but it was that color. And then I wore jeans. So there's also a lot of friendship bracelets in this kit, which is very cute. I regret not getting into making friendship bracelets for the concerts I went to this summer. I had the time, I was off of work. I could have done it. I just didn't think of it ahead of time. So I feel like the next time I go to shows, I might get into that. It would be a little bit of an investment ahead of time, but they turn out cute. There were some itsy bitsy deco pieces in this kit of the friendship bracelets, so that was fun to figure out. So yes, we saw Death Cab for Cutie on Wednesday of this week, and it was at a brand new venue in Sacramento called Channel 24. It's kind of a mid-sized venue, I guess, is what they're billing it as. It can hold about 2,000 people, and so that's kind of in between Golden One Center, which is our basketball arena. I don't even know how many people you can fit in there, but a lot. That's where I saw Casey Musgraves last year. And then there's a lot of smaller venues in town that can hold maybe 1,000 people. So this is brand new. I think it used to be a warehouse or something like that in Midtown. The light rail station stops right outside it. It was really nice because we could just Uber over there, or we use Lyft when we're in the States. We only use Uber when we absolutely have to because it's the only thing available in other countries, but we are a Lyft family. Anyway, so yeah, we were just able to get a quick ride over there and home, and we were home by 11, so that was nice, even though the show was at 8, I think. So it's really cool to have something like that in our area. When I was growing up, being a teenager, all of that, it always felt like there was nothing to do in Sacramento. And I feel like that's starting to change as more people are moving here from the Bay Area, which comes with its own problems of, cost of living going up. But there are more people wanting to do stuff in town, so that's fun. So I'm going to do a general overview of the week, and then I'll do what I did with my last concert Plan With Me, which was just kind of give you a rundown of the concert and not focus so much on individual stickers for this time. This is probably going to be the last memory keeping video I filmed for a while, just for a month or so, although my schedule is getting so busy that I'm scared that I'm just not going to have the energy to not film, because filming doesn't take that much out of me because I want to play with the stickers. It's just the voiceovers back up over time, and I really only like doing them when I'm home alone because I get distracted so easily. So that's the hard part, is finding time to do the voiceovers. But anyway, we'll enjoy this one for now. I did color block this week, and I put pink on Thursday because if you know me, you know that if there's pink in a kit, I'm probably using as little of it as possible. It's not that I hate it, it's just I like the other colors better. So color blocked and emphasized the other colors. This would be a fun fall kit too, I think. Anyway, so as far as Monday goes, I was still riding the high from My Chemical Romance the weekend before. So I found a video of the concert we went to on YouTube. If I was behind somebody who was filming a whole concert, oh my God, I would be so annoyed with them. But if I find it on the internet and I wasn't with them at the concert, then like I enjoy it. So I don't know. I'm like, why am I giving this person views? But at the same time, like, we didn't have the best seats. We had like okay seats, but not like great seats. So it's nice to see things closer up. So I think I watched that as well as the Seattle show from the weekend prior to ours because there were different things that happened theatrically at that. So that was Monday mostly, and then just kind of like getting back on track with life. Tuesday, I decided to skip ahead in my planner a few weeks and start the My Chemical Romance plan with me because I was just like so excited and wanted to lay out that week. So I think I listened to the My Chemical Romance playlist I had created on Spotify of like my favorite songs. So you'll see these little record stickers throughout the week. Those are from Corks and Chords Co. If you have questions about other stickers, let me know, but I especially wanted to highlight those because I think they're so adorable. Obviously, I wasn't listening to these songs on vinyl. I was listening to them on Spotify, but like I do think I want to get some vinyl soon of some of these things. Tuesday night also was, I was waiting for comedian Josh Johnson, who I've been loving lately for the last like almost 2 years after he appeared on After Midnight, to chime in on the Coldplay concert situation. I'm not going to go into detail. You probably remember it was everywhere. And he delivered this night. He posts videos from some of his sets every Tuesday. Like he'll clip a bit of the show and post it to YouTube. So I've really been enjoying that. He is coming to Sacramento, but all of his shows are sold out. And so the tickets, like the resale tickets, are like $150. And I'm just like, I don't know. But I just love him so much lately. I find him so funny. If you're looking for stand-up comedy to watch, he's a really good storyteller. And then a big part of his humor is like just low-key telling a story very casually and then suddenly like connecting it to something going on in the world. And it's just so funny to me. So yeah, I was watching that on Tuesday. And then Wednesday was the big concert day. We'll come back to this, but I marked the opener, Mary Lattimore, who was a harpist. I think that'll be the one and only time I see a harpist as an opener for a band. It was really cool. She was so adorable. I loved her. And then we saw Death Cab for Cutie, and we'll get into that later. Thursday, I was just kind of recovering. I was really dehydrated. I often am in the summertime, and it really impacts my health. And then this week, Josh Johnson was also hosting The Daily Show. I think that's part of how he got kind of on the circuit is like he's a correspondent on The Daily Show, but he was hosting this week. So I watched a bunch of clips of that. It was awesome. And I used these little Molly friendship bracelet stickers from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. to mark a couple of things this week. I meant to mark certain exercises I was having to do, but I accidentally started writing in Josh Johnson hosts The Daily Show instead on Thursday, but that's fine. But I did do those exercises on Thursday and like Sunday, I think. And then Friday, I was finishing up My Chemical Romance plan with me, doing a job app, and I made, or was at least listening to my playlist from the specific show that we went to. So I like to do that. I like to create a Spotify playlist of like every song that was played at the concert in the order that it played, so I can kind of relive it that way. Saturday, we were helping our friend with some wedding decorations for their wedding. I did some reading, and then we went out to dinner with our friends who are hosting their wedding next month. Sunday, so Saturday and Sunday of this week, My Chemical Romance were playing in LA, and I was kind of like following along with what was going on at those two shows. And I guess they had a whole thing about the Dodger dog, which, if you're not familiar, is just a large hot dog that is sold at Dodger Stadium during Dodgers games, obviously. I'll just come out and say it. I hate the Dodgers because I'm a Giants fan. It's just how it goes. But I did find all the hot dog jokes very funny. I guess they were throwing hot dogs out into the crowd at some point. My brother's former roommate was at one of the shows, and she's like, "They're out here throwing glizzies." I'm like, oh my God. My kind of humor. There are some elements from the theatrical parts of the My Chemical Romance shows where I'm like, did me and my brother write this when we were like 10 and 12? Because it feels like that. So I'm enjoying it. And then also on Sunday, I finished reading A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. Oh my God. All I can say is it's a great book for birth control. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not going to elaborate. So I'm going to spend $1,000,005 putting all this deco down because I wanted to include pretty much everything, and there were lots of itsy bitsy bits. This paper that Plannerface uses is like kind of a removable mat, but it's like a really nice removable mat. So sometimes, especially when I have nails on, it's really hard to maneuver and use or pull up stickers or to place stickers exactly where I want them. So you're going to see me spend a lot of time on this. Okay, but then let's get into more detail about Wednesday because that's the interesting day from this week. So obviously it was a weeknight. The show didn't start until 8, but my husband, of course, had to go to work this day. If this was during the school year, I would have been at work as well, but lucky for me, I wasn't. So I took care of cooking dinner this night. Fun fact, my husband's really the chef in the house. Like I can cook, but he likes doing it more, so most of the time it gets delegated to him, but I did cook us dinner just because he was going to get home probably around like 6 and we needed to get right over to the show. So I did that and then I got ready. I did my makeup. I don't really wear makeup other than lipstick on a regular basis. So for special occasions, I do a whole face of makeup. I don't know if it actually looks good, but no one's told me I'm ugly yet. So, you know, I guess I'm doing okay. And then we lifted, I was going to say Ubered, we lifted over to Channel 24 and they had a lot more crowd control at this very small venue than they did at Oracle Park. Oracle Park honestly was kind of a mess, like, and the people who worked there didn't really seem to care. So that was really stressful. That was the only bad part of the MCR show, was just like the navigation around Oracle Park was a bit chaotic. So there was that. But with this, especially because it's in Midtown and it's new, I think they're trying really, really hard not to piss off the people who live there because there's a lot of houses in this area. So they had lots of staff outside, like helping people line up around the building and navigating all of that. It was so weird. Like the tour buses were right outside the venue, like just right there. And I'm like, I feel like I don't normally see that. Except for when we went to the Greek Theater in Berkeley last summer for Billy Strings. We like kind of saw the tour buses then, but the tour buses were like right there. I'm like, this is so weird. And I'm really glad that we saw them in a smaller venue, like max 2,000 people. I thought that was a really unique experience just because they are, I feel like, a pretty big band. So like they play bigger venues. Like I think the next weekend they played at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, and that's huge, right? So it was really nice to go to a smaller venue, and I'm excited that we have this smaller venue, but it's also big enough that like some people I like might come into town. But yeah, all the staff was super friendly. It's a nice new venue. All of that was really great. So both MCR and Death Cab for Cutie are definitely bands that I really associate with my husband, especially around the time that I met him, which was 13 years ago this month, which is wild. At the time that I met my husband, he was very much in his like MCR Danger Days era. He had like this special watch that they released with that album, and his alarm clock was Look Alive Sunshine on repeat. I was like, this guy's kind of weird, but I'm into it. And he brought his guitar to college, and one of the songs that I definitely remember him playing when I first met him, because of course when anyone brings a guitar to college, people are like, you have to play for us. So he would like play for people in his apartment or my apartment or other people's apartments, because we lived in the same building, if you don't know. Anyway, one of the songs I remember him playing at the time was I Will Follow You Into the Dark, and that was one of the ones I knew, of course, because that's one of the most like famous songs from Death Cab for Cutie. I didn't really know MCR that well until I met my husband and started listening to that with him years later, but I did really know Death Cab and already enjoyed their music on my own. I was in my Tumblr era, so like I feel like Death Cab was very Tumblr coded. So with all of that, I'm going to be really honest, I knew going into this show, this Death Cab for Cutie show, that I wasn't really going to be able to sing along as much as I did with MCR, because MCR only has like technically 4 full albums, and Death Cab has like, I swear, like a dozen, and I've only listened to like maybe 4 or 5 of them in total. And that's just funny because this was technically my concert for the summer. MCR was definitely for my husband. He was like, I'm getting tickets. Do you want to go? All of that. And the only reason I found out that Death Cab for Cutie was touring was that I found out they were opening for MCR in New Jersey for a show that I think happened in early August. And so I was like, wait, are they touring? Like, I'm so annoyed that I don't get them as an opener for MCR. But I found out they had a show going on in Sacramento, and that was even better. And so I'm really glad we went, because obviously getting a full set, a full show from Death Cab is better than only getting them as an opener. Although if they had been the opener for MCR, I would have been so excited. But anyway, they did play a surprising number of songs from their album Plans, which I think arguably is probably their most popular album. I don't know for sure, but between that and Transatlanticism, I think that's like their most popular, even though it wasn't one of their Plans anniversary shows. So that was nice. What Sarah Said sounds absolutely amazing on live piano. On the album, I think it goes after I Will Follow You Into the Dark, but they played What Sarah Said and then immediately after played I Will Follow You Into the Dark. And I really loved that, because both of those songs are about like love and death and the complexities between them. So that was really amazing to hear. I am definitely a girl who goes for guys with guitars. I mean, look who I married. So live guitar, live piano, it just hits different. It's amazing. And when he got to I Will Follow You Into the Dark, he got to the last chorus. He was like, okay, Sacramento, I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to ask you to sing a chorus on your own, and then I'll give you an extra chorus. And I was like, yes, please. So we all sang along without him. We did a great job, I think. I refuse to admit, I'm going to include concert clips at the end of this video like I did with the last one, even though it makes my video so long and my computer's like, I don't want to export this. And I'm like, you're going to, but I will include the clips. I do refuse to admit that the person who is singing slightly off key in the clips might be me. We can't prove that it's me. We can't prove that it's not me. I can mostly sing in key, but sometimes I don't. So we'll get to that later. But yeah, we got an extra chorus because we sang along on our own. And then also just singing along to Soulmate's Body with my husband was fun. It's one of the songs you can actually dance to from Death Cab for Cutie. And there's like a line in there about brown eyes, I hold you near, and my husband has brown eyes, so we're gonna pretend it's about him. I do wish that we got more from Codes and Keys. I think we got like one song, You Are a Tourist, which is a fun song to hear when you're in your hometown. But there are other songs I'd like more from Codes and Keys. And then also their latest album, Asphalt Meadows. Wow, totally butchered that, sorry. I really love the opening and closing songs from that album, and they didn't do those ones. They did a bunch of other songs that I didn't know as well from that album. So, you know, there was a lot that I couldn't sing along to, but that's fine. Sometimes it's just nice to hear it. He said towards the end of the show, he's like, we're going to go record another album. So, because like having a dozen albums isn't enough, obviously. Like they churn out a lot of stuff. I have not listened to their whole discography. I probably should. I don't know. And now he's going to add another album on top of it. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of music. That's a lot of homework for me to do, but I'm here for it. I do really enjoy them. So that's fantastic. He said he'll come back on tour after the next album, and I'm like, I'm gonna hold you to that, because like I need to see you again. My husband had seen Death Cab for Cutie before, I think at the Hollywood Bowl. My husband grew up in Southern California, for context, so like the Hollywood Bowl is not that far. It's funny that I've been to the Hollywood Bowl twice. It's a cool venue, but like the seating situation is like so uncomfortable. But it's an awesome, huge venue. It's just, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, this was a great live show. I mean, both bands that we saw within the course of this week are great live musicians, and Ben Gibbard is an amazing live vocalist. I'm just like, wow, you have a beautiful voice. It's kind of how I felt about Casey Musgraves last year. I'm just like, oh, you're for real. You have a beautiful voice like a bird. Anyway, so yeah, great show. And then I think just overall, it was a really nice experience. I wasn't sure going into kind of a newer venue. So I think they just started doing shows at Channel 24 in April. I wasn't sure if they would have worked out all the kinks, or like if they knew how to handle the whole situation, but it turned out really well. Venue staff and the bartenders and everybody were really friendly. There's this beautiful mural when you walk right into the venue. and I think I posted a photo of it on Instagram. It's really pretty. I definitely should have worn my earplugs. I wore them to MCR, and that was an outdoor show. And then for some reason, I didn't put them in for this show, and it was inside. And so my ears were definitely ringing after the fact, and I'm like, oh God, I just messed up my hearing. So not gonna make that mistake again. I should just wear my earplugs. I also should have worn shoes with arch support because this is mostly a general admission, standing room only venue. There's like a couple of ADA seats, and then other than that, you have to stand. And I wore my sandals instead of my Allbirds sneakers, which I wore to MCR. And after MCR, I was on my feet the entire night, and like my feet didn't hurt. But with this, I was also on my feet the entire night, and my arches were killing me. So I might also consider going to the balcony at this venue instead of being on the floor. I wanted to try being general admission floor once. And with Death Cab for Cutie, that's a safer option because like no one's moshing to Death Cab for Cutie, I think. So yes, this was definitely the type of music, this was the type of band to me as a very small person put myself in that situation, because there's other situations where I'm like, I wouldn't put myself that close to the stage because I'm worried about getting crushed. So yeah, definitely with Death Cab for Cutie, it's like you kind of dance along, but it's like very chill, so like no one's getting hurt. So I felt good about that. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of run through the set list. I don't remember some of these songs, I'm gonna be honest. A lot of them I didn't know in the first place, but I enjoyed them nonetheless. So just keeping that in mind is there. I have some homework to do after this show. So he opened with Different Names for the Same Thing, which I believe is from Plans? I don't know. Don't quote me on any of this. And then that led into The New Year, which is another song that I knew the chorus of, and I feel like a lot of people would know the chorus of, but I didn't know. Then that moved into We Laugh Indoors. I have no recollection of what that song sounds like right now. And then Roman Candles, which is a song from their latest album that I kind of knew. Don't know how I feel about that one. It's not my favorite from that album. That led into The Ghost of Beverly Drive, which I have been listening to on repeat. It is kind of I feel like it's a good summertime song. That led into Photo Booth and Cath, which are songs that I know but like aren't my favorites. Expo 86 played next. I can't remember what that one sounds like. I'm such a fake fan right now. And then Here to Forever was the next song, and that one I knew for the most part. That's from their latest album. I do like that one. And then Long Division is from Narrow Stairs, I think. And that's one that I was really familiar with. So that was where I started to kind of gain a little bit of momentum. And I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to know the music. It's nice to listen to music that you like haven't, or you're not as familiar with, because like you gain new songs from that, definitely. But it is nice when you hear things that you're like, yes, I know this one. Then he played Black Sun, which I also knew, but I'm not as like, I don't know as many of the words to. And then really this was where we started to get on a roll with like songs that most people in the audience would know. So What Sarah Said, he played that, which again, like I already said, beautiful song, first of all, but also not only for the content, but just for the music itself. Like the live piano really hit somewhere in my soul. That was amazing. And then that led into I Will Follow You Into the Dark, which was very acoustic. And like I already mentioned, we all sang along towards the end because that was our one job for the night. And then that moved into I Will Possess Your Heart, which I do know that song. Listening closer to that song, I'm like, the narrator of this song, creepy. Learn when no means no. I'm just saying. Anyway. And then that led into You Are a Tourist, which, like I said, was fun to hear in my hometown, because I think there's a line in there of like, when you feel like a tourist in the city you're born, it's time to go. And as someone who like moved away and came back and moved away and came back, I didn't leave California, but like I left Sacramento for sure. I thought it was just funny to hear it in Sacramento. That led into Northern Lights, which I'll be honest, I don't remember at all. Then he dedicated Crooked Teeth to the opener, Mary Lattimore. He's like, it's nothing personal, but this is just the song that I guess she wanted to hear or something like that. So that's a fun song. And then that went into Soul Meets Body, which was really kind of the groovy, what, Jessica? I don't know. One we could all sort of dance along to. And then the end of the original set list was Foxglove Through the Clear Cut, which is from their latest album. Definitely starts with a lot of like narration, a lot of like almost spoken word, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one, but it was nice to hear. And then that was technically the end of the show, but then they went off stage and some guy started chanting, "One more song, one more song." And I've noticed Gen Z is like very confused by the concept of an encore. I saw a post on Reddit about it the other day, or like a few weeks ago, where people were like, is this like a thing? And the rest of us had to explain to the children that, except Gen Z are like adults at this point, but we're explaining to the children what the concept of an encore is. And not everybody does encores anymore. Like MCR definitely didn't do an encore, and that is totally fair because they did one whole set and then changed and then did a second set. So like I was not expecting an encore from them. When they were done, they were done. Casey Musgrave said something so funny at her show last year where she's like, I don't do encores, like they're just lies, guys. Like what, we're just gonna pretend that we aren't gonna play our two best songs and like leave? Like, no, I'm not gonna do that to you. She has a point. But anyway, we all started chanting one more song. And once you start that, you kind of have to commit to the bit. So we kept doing it until they came back out, and then they played 3 more songs. So the 3 encore songs were Your Bruise, I don't remember that one, Marching Bands of Manhattan, which is from Plans, and then Bixby Canyon Bridge. And then we were done for realsies. So it was a great night of live music, felt really good. I'm glad that we were able to get pretty close to the stage. I mean, I struggle as a shorty. As a self-professed shorty, I'm 5'2", so like I'm vertically challenged. I'm not the shortest person on the planet, but I'm not tall by any means. So, you know, I was glad to be close enough to see Ben Gibbard spit, because he had to spit a couple times in between songs. So yes, it was great to see him. It was great to see the other band members as well. Mary Lattimore was absolutely adorable. I love her. And her harpistry, we're just going to coin that term right now, was amazing. Great opener, great night of music. So yeah, that is this week. I'm going to go ahead and include some clips from the show. There's probably going to be fewer because my husband didn't really take any, which is totally fine. With MCR, we kind of traded off of different clips. Like we weren't recording at the same time, but we kind of traded spaces for recording clips. So for this one, it's just me recording, but I hope you enjoy those clips if you want to see them. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.
was watching someone die. You and me have seen everything to see, from Bangkok to Calgary. The soles of your shoes all worn down. The time for sleep is now. There's nothing to cry about, 'cause we'll hold each other soon in the blackest of rooms. Sacramento. I'm a fair man. I would never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do. So in that spirit, if you guys will sing a chorus to this song for me.